mechanical powers of Atomic Heart are frickin' sweet. Shooting Bioshock-esque arcs of lightning from the palm of your hand, your trusty glove friend Charles is the source of all your power-slinging badassery. With 6 powers in the game, you'll have a ton of variety to intermingle with your melee and ranged weapons. With offensive powers like Shock, Frostbite, and Telekinesis, as well as defensive and utility-based options like Polymer Throw, a shield, as well as Rage, which likely will be a melee buff of some sort. There's a lot of opportunity for variety and creative gameplay with what we have at our disposal. You'll be able to wield 2 powers at a time, meaning you can make use of a full offensive, a mixed setup, or using the more creative side of powers to your advantage. Each power has a full-on skill tree you can work through, which seems to be pretty extensive per skill, having quite a few upgrades to get into that may drastically alter how each power behaves. Upgrades cost neuropolymer. As of right now, it's hard to say how to obtain it. It could be from bosses or a rare resource found only in the facilities below. It's one of the many things we gotta leave till the game launches in like 2 weeks, dude. It's so dang close. But an interesting part of Atomic Heart is combat flow, otherwise titled the recirculation chamber. As you fight with melee weapons, you build up charge that you can use to presumably power your abilities as well as the high-tech weaponry of the game. The polymer shield directly benefits this combat flow by charging up the recirculation chamber, so it may actually be an incredibly useful skill when used right. If you're curious about weapons, I have a video on them that will be linked at the end of this video. Also, we're going to be going in on this whole recirculation chamber thing in a video later on this week, so stay tuned for that. So, for the first power we know about, and one that needs no introduction, Shock, the lightning power that can stun and even destroy whatever's in your path. Robotic enemies are especially weak to lightning attacks, and since there are going to be quite a bit of menacing machines to fight through, Shocker might wind up getting a lot of use throughout the game. It's also very useful for solving puzzles in the depths of the facility, and likely will be a very early power to acquire. The next power to discuss is either going to be called Character or Symbol. It seems to be the ability to upgrade our character though, so that may mean things like carry weight, health, or power amounts, and anything else we might be able to upgrade on our character. Man, I'm really happy that I make these videos because not only did I get confirmation that it is character that is going to be in that second slot there, not symbol, but also character's energy is down at the bottom there, so we'll talk about that later on in this video here. Then we have Frostbite, another more self-explanatory power. You get the ability to freeze enemies and then can deal extra damage by hitting them with a melee attack. This seems to be more effective against the mutated enemies instead of the mechanical ones, so it might be worthwhile to keep that in mind. A cool thing to note here is how your character's hand freezes over while using Frostbite. A very nice detail. Then we have Mass Telekinesis, the ability to pick enemies up, then slam them into the ground. A very flashy move that seems to be great for crowd control. Something I'm curious to see is if telekinesis will work on the bigger bosses, like Hedgie for instance. But it will be very useful for many bosses such as Pleush, who summons sprouts and confuse with them to get even stronger. The next ability is Polymer Throw, a very unique skill that visually looks like the glue cannon from Prey, but acts like a conductor to elements such as frost, electricity, or environmental fire. If we ever get the ability to shoot fireballs, this thing will be so deadly, but for now, it seems like the most unique skill and will be a ton of fun to get creative with. Then we have Polymeric Shield, which, as I mentioned before, can help with charging up energy to use with weapons and possibly powers as well. There seems to be a weakness to Polymer Shield that we'll have to learn about in the future, but with a decent upgrade tree, I'm really stoked to see how Polymer Shield looks late game in Atomic Heart here. And for the last ability to upgrade here, your character's energy, which I only caught in the latest gameplay overview video, so it's pretty fresh here. But with upgrades such as energy density, that shows how our upgrades will have dramatic effects on our skills. This one actually affecting weapons power cells that you charge up with the recirculation chamber. Upgrading our character and character's energy will likely be the more essential upgrades to get early on, but we'll have to see how these skill trees are when the game launches February 21st. A small aside to note here as we get to the end of the video, character's rage seems to have been cut from the game. There's a lot that's been in motion for Atomic Heart in terms of its development, so some things may show up and some things may not show up once we get to the game. So I think upgrading our abilities and our character will be a really fun progression system for us all to get into. Gathering neuropolymer to upgrade ourselves, upgrading our weapons with gathered materials, and flowing it all together with this smooth combat system that rewards variety. It's clean, man! So, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button or subscribe to stick around. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.